Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tangle Time Arts. I'm Nana Heron, and I'm a certified Zentangle teacher. And I wanted to wish everyone a happy Easter for those of you who celebrate. Today, we're going to take a look at the very basic crescent moon, and I thought we'd take a look at that in the egg shape. And crescent moon is simple, but there's different things you can do with it. And so we're going to take a look at the two different ways that I like to play with crescent moon. And we're going to start with the example on the left, and then we'll go and do the one on the right. So I have basic supplies. I have two white tiles. I have a black pen, a tortillon, and a number 2 pencil. And although my samples are with just the black pen and the pencil, I do have some different colored gel pens that are optional if you'd like to use gel pens or markers or colored pencil or crayon. That'd be awesome too. So let's get started. So on my white tiles, I lightly pre-drew kind of an oval and egg shape. If you have one of the smaller Easter egg cookie cutters, that would work awesome for tracing your shape. I kind of just did a freehand of it, and I'm going to go over that with my black pen. And it doesn't have to be a perfect oval or a perfect egg shape. Since I like to keep things very fluid and natural looking, I just kind of most of the time wing it. So I have basically an egg shape. All right, and then I'm going to start with my crescent moons. And the way we start the crescent moon is like with a half ladybug shape. And I'm going to start on the bottom here. And I'm making them kind of big. So it's kind of like almost like my thumbnail size. And I'm going to rotate my tile, and I'm just going to make, I kind of have a width of their, like my pen width, but I'm just approximating. I'm not really measuring. So I'm just going to put in these half ladybug shapes all the way around. Once I have those placed, we can take a look at our sample here. We are actually going to ink in the half ladybug shapes. And if you're not using different colors, you can just go ahead and use your black pen to do that. At this point, I'm going to switch. And I think for this one, I'm going to use, I'm just going to go with pink today. And I'm just going to fill in these shapes. So for some of us, it might take a little longer depending on what kind of pen you're using. If you're using a marker, that's going to go really quickly for you. But I just thought this would add some nice color to it. But again, it's completely optional. You could totally go with your black pen. And if you're using colors, of course, you don't have to use pink. You could use orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, whatever your favorite is. Or you can even switch up the colors. So you don't have to only use pink. You could make these half circles all different colors. All right, and once we have that filled in, we'll set our pen aside and pick up our black pen again. So I only wanted color in the half ladybug shapes. And be careful because gel pen takes a little longer to dry, and I can tell that mine's a little bit wet. So I'm going to try to be careful as I work around my project here. So once those are filled in with whatever color you'd like, then we're going to aura around each half ladybug shape. Oops, kind of going off the screen there, sorry. All right, so we made it all the way around once. And then we're going to do that a second time. And we're going to go around again. We want to keep going until they start to meet in these valleys. So at this point, we've got the lines meeting in the valleys, which is exactly what we want. And then from here, we're just going to keep adding the auras, but it's mostly just on the top parts. So we're going from the point in a valley over to the next one. Check on the screen how that looks. And we'll keep going. And for me, my starting point is always this bottom one. And I always continue to rotate as much as I can. But some of you might find that you don't need to rotate as much as we get our project more filled in. So we're just going to keep going until all of these kind of meet in the center. It has a very organic kind of look to it. Goes pretty quickly. Okay, I have my camera a little off today, so I'm trying to work with that. If you like to leave space in the center, please do. I'm going to keep working until it's about all filled in. And if you skip over an area, that's fine too, because it's getting pretty tight in there. So I think I'm going to kind of leave it like that. And these areas in the center, I am just going to ink in. And I'm going to do that with my black pen. And then I also, before we start shading, I like to go around the outside of this project and just make sure you can see the outline really nicely. And I think we're back where we started. So we have something very similar. Here's my original one. Then here's one with the color. And we're going to shade. So you do have some options here. You could use your number 2 pen or pencil, sorry, number 2 pencil, or you could actually use a colored pencil, or if you have a pastel chalk pencil, you could use that as well. So since I used pink for this and I have a pastel pink chalk pencil, I'm going to use that for my shading. And instead of a tortillon, I have a Q-tip. So all I'm going to do then is add some shading alongside each of these arcs here. And I'm leaving the center white. And I'm doing that for each of them. But you can do this with your pencil, colored pencil, whatever you would like. Since it is Easter, I thought a little color would be nice. I am using a lot of pressure because it doesn't show up on the screen that well. You might like to start lighter though, because you can always go back over it and add another layer or 2. Okay. And now I'm going to take, when I work with the chalk pencils, I usually use a Q-tip. or a cotton swab if you have one instead of the tortillon. I'm just kind of blending that out a little bit. Just smoothing that out, just like you would with a tortillon. And there we have that. And if you would like to add a little shading, you could take your pencil and add that right along the edge here. And you could do that before the color, before adding the color or after. It doesn't really matter. And then for that, take your tortillon and you can smooth that out. You don't need any on the actual part that you colored with a gel pen or a black ink pen, just in the areas that don't have that. Right, so there we have Crescent Moon, and you can compare the two. So this is how it would look with just our original materials. And here we have with a little bit of color. I'm going to take my pen and just put my initials in the corner here, my top there. And then I'm going to flip this over. And I like to put my name. And this is our Tangle of the Week, Crescent Moon. And today I am actually going to note on here that it is Easter. And the date is 3/31/24. And we have Crescent Moon. Okay. And this is just one way we can do that. And since we have time, we are now going to take a look at Crescent Moon in this style. So I have another white tile that I pre-drew an oval or an egg shape on, and I am going to go over that with my black pen. So I feel the first example has a very organic feel to it. And it's interesting to tuck that into different shapes. This second style is a lot more layered and takes a little more time. All right, we're going to start on the bottom again, just to have that as our reference point. And we're starting the exact same way. So we're going to fill in our half ladybug shapes all the way around. All right. So if you're only working with a black pen today, you can begin to fill that in like I did with this one. I have some gel pens in multiple colors, so I'm going to go ahead and just randomly use different colors to fill these in. Let's go with a yellow shape here, a yellow color here. Yeah, yellow shows up. And then I've got green. I'm just randomly kind of grabbing them and filling them in. And I've got orange. Blue. Back to pink. And this should be a darker purple. Yeah, it's a little darker. Add another yellow one. So you can randomly fill in the colors or just stick with one color if you'd like. It's entirely up to you. I'm gonna add a little more blue here. And then maybe go back to the orange. All right. So I used multiple colors, and now once you have that filled in, then we'll go back to our black pen, and we are going to aura around these like we did on our first project. And remember, if you use gel pen, to be careful because it can take a while for that to dry. Once we made our way all the way around, we're going to do that again. We're just going to aura around these again. And I'm going to go and do that one more time because I want these to fit in very snugly. All right. So you should have something that looks sort of like this. Now, as you can see from the sample, we're going to tuck in another layer of crescent moons. So to do that, our half ladybug shapes kind of become like maybe quarter shapes, like a quarter of a circle. And you're just tucking those in everywhere that there's a like a valley. All right. Now, if you're just working with one color with your ink, whether it's black or pink or whatever, go ahead and start filling in those shapes. I'm going to go back and grab my gel pens and start filling them in randomly again with the different colors. green over here. And I've got my orange. I'm trying to balance out my bright colors with the darker colors. And I think I'm also going to tuck some orange in down here. All right, then let's see, what should we do? Maybe we'll go with maybe a pink. Try not to overthink. I find myself doing that sometimes. Sometimes I'll just close my eyes and pick a color. All right, once you have all of those filled in, we're going to go back to our black pen. And we are going to put auras around those shapes, being mindful that gel pen might still be a little wet. Since this is already starting to meet here, I'm actually not going to go down the center. I'm just going to stop a little above it and just keep going with the aura. All right, I think I'm going to aura around one more time. And again, I'm not going to go down in the center with this style. I'm kind of starting a little bit above now. And if there's a spot to go down the center, I will go there. Otherwise, I'm just kind of floating that above all of those pieces. Like that. All right. And then we can add another layer of our crescent moons. And we can just tuck them in. At this point, I think in this area, I'm just going to put that in here, just put one in. I think I'll do the same here. And then back to my colors, or if you're just using one color, just go ahead and start filling that in. And I think I will start with the darker purple here. I'm not going in order because I'm just working with the random colors and trying to fit them in where I feel it's pleasing to the eye. Sometimes that doesn't always work out, but we'll see what happens. And green over here. Don't forget to put the caps back on your pens if you're working with gel pen or marker. It's very important. All right, once that's finished, we're going to do the same thing. Put the aura around your little half ladybug shapes. And once we're here, you can leave the center like that if you'd like to, but I just like to kind of keep going and work my way around with the auras. Once it gets so small, there's not much you can do. So I will kind of finish it off like that. So I've got little triangles on each end and a diamond shape in the center that I just fill in with the black pen. All right, so we've got a very different Easter egg. We're going to shade this now. I am just shading it with the number 2 pencil. And oh, before that, actually like we did with the other one, I just want to make sure our egg looks nice and solid. So I'm going to go back over it with the black pen. And be careful, make sure your gel pen areas are dry. And I think we made it all the way around. The cap on the black pen. Pick up my pencil. So now I'm going to add shading to, I'm starting on the outside and working my way in. And I'm careful not to, I'm not going to run the graphite over the areas with the color because they don't really need it. Then I'll work my way over to the next layer. So I'm putting it on top of the curve here where these lines come down to that point. And then moving on to the next layer. We're just going layer by layer, kind of like peeling an onion. It's just layer by layer. And once we've done all of those layers, then I like to add graphite to these areas. Do you see where like this valley is? I like to add a little graphite there. Just to give it more of a three-dimensional look. And for this, I work from the center out, just layer by layer. All right, I think I got them all. I'm going to set the pencil aside and pick up the tortillon, and working from the outside, just slightly rubbing the tortillon back and forth, and at the same time pulling it towards me. So I work along the ink line and then pull it towards me. Okay. And then we just do that layer by layer. And then when we get to the center, we're going to work from the center out. So all of those kind of valley areas where we added graphite, we're going to go over those areas as well. And we're pulling those toward the center. All right. Move to our next layer. I think we made our way all the way around. So that is our second one. So we can compare it. So if you're working in just the original materials, yours would look like this. If you decided to add some color, yours would look like this. And you can see how it kind of, there's like a 3D effect there as it pulls you in towards the center in both of these. All right, I'm going to add my chop down in this corner as well. And this was also Crescent Moon, but a different variation of it. And so it's an Easter project, but it's also our Tangle of the week. And it was 3/31/24. Okay. All right, so we have these two. Hopefully I can get them all on here. And then maybe it's all gonna fit. Let me zoom out a little bit. Okay. So there we go. We have Crescent Moon in two different styles, two different variations. Both are really fun to work with. I love the way that this style is so organic, but I love the layering effect that I get with this style as well. And I'm going to be honest, I probably do the layering more than I do the organic style, but it just depends on my mood, I guess, and what I'm doing. So have fun with those. Oh, and you don't have to use an oval shape or an Easter egg shape. You can fit these in any type of shape you want to. I just thought it'd be fun to use the egg shape for those of us who are celebrating Easter today. So have a happy Easter. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next week. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful week. And remember, I love you guys. You all take care. Bye-bye.